Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. I'm very pleased to see so many of you in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Not to forget those who are watching or listening from COMET YouTube. On behalf of COMET, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to everyone to COMET Insight webinar series. I'm Zeti Azrin Ahmad, who will be moderating the session for today. Alhamdulillah, we are privileged to have three remarkable personalities who will bring their distinct perspective on the issue that we are all very eager to delve in, that is reporting with integrity in times of tragedy. So let's take a moment to know our special guest a bit better. Sitting right to my immediate left is no other than Professor Datuk Sri Syed Arabi Aidid, who is a renowned scholar in the area of communication and media in Malaysia. So Prof has been an academic for more than 4 decades. He served University Kebangsaan Malaysia for 22 years before joining IIUM in 1991. He is currently affiliated with the Department of Communication at Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Perhaps it is not known to many that Professor Datuk Sri has started his career as a journalist, and later attained a position of Bureau Chief in Sabah with the Malaysian National News Agency or Bernama, and that was in 1968 up to 1971, Prof? So welcome to the studio, Professor. We are very honored to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And our second panelist is Mr. Azrul Naimi, the co-founder of Malaysia Tribune. So Mr. Azrul is currently overseeing Malaysia Tribune website and social media. And with a journalism career spanning over a decade, he has contributed his expertise to well-established media organization, including Utusan Online and Star Publication. So thank you, Mr. Azrul, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
Despite your very tight schedule. And last but certainly not least, our very own Dr. Harmi Ta'zim Muhammad. He was a broadcast journalist with Media Prima from 1996 up to 2001 and later worked as a producer in the same organization. Dr. Harmi is currently a senior lecturer at the Department of Communication AHAS, IIUM, and he is also holding an administrative position as the Director of Communication, Advocacy and Promotion at the university. Thank you, Dr. Harmi, for your participation this morning. So to kick off the session, I would like to welcome Professor Datuk Sri Syed Arabi Aidid to share his perspective on the ethics of reporting tragedies. It would be interesting, Prof, if you could walk us through to the nitty-gritty of how news about tragedy is covered by a journalist.
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zeti, and for inviting me to be on stage this morning. I will be making my comments based on my experience as a journalist and as a bureau chief with Bernama, and also with my experience in teaching journalism courses in UKM and also communication courses at IIUM. Now, for this topic, we are talking about ethics and integrity in the reporting. I will just take three elements of ethics. Normally, the need to be accurate. As far as Bernama are concerned, I think most of the online news agencies now will be to be fast. And to be fair.
True.
So coming to the first one, to be accurate, I think news agencies or even news organizations would always emphasize that you need to be accurate in reporting. You need to be sure of your sources. You need to check your details. So the need to be accurate is paramount. Now, number two is also the need to be accurate to get from reliable sources. You cannot get from anybody. You have to make sure that your source or sources is all reliable and it can be verified. Number two. Number three, speed. So as I was working with Bernama, speed is the deadline is every second. Every second. Because our client is from BBC, RTM, and everything. So they want news quick.
Right.
But they want the news to be accurate. So we have this twin problem, to be quick and at the same time to be accurate. If you want to be quick without being accurate, I think you can let go, the thing. Now, in political reporting, it's different. In political reporting, we were told to be fair. If one politician makes a comment on another politician, we get to get the other politician to reply.
Right.
Number 4, I think, for this is to be fair to all people concerned. No. So diving through. As a reporter, for example, you are given an assignment based on a command made by your news editor. And the news editor sometimes doesn't know what has happened. He just says, I heard that an accident has happened. Can you go out and get the story? That's all. He doesn't know, you doesn't know. Yeah. So you are driven by a big question. What happened? What happened? In other words, you're going to size up the story, how big it is. Is it a tragedy, or is it just a mere accident? Or is it just a flash, something that is the news editor heard, but it's not true? Your job is to go and check out. And the first big question that is propelling you is, what? What happened? So you go down to the ground and find out what happened. And you got to size up how big is the incident. So you can see, oh man, there is fire. Now you have to establish now to verify all your news. You go to look out for sources.
Yes.
Can you get somebody who is willing to speak, a spokesman? Because you're going to hold on to the spokesperson to get the information wrong. So when you quote the story, or when you write the story, you are quoting from that reliable source. He or she must be telling you credible stories. I'm using the word story, but actually it's a news. News item to be sent out. So you have now established the fact that the incident is very big, because what story has been told. You know, to build up your story by asking the next question, who? Who are involved? Who are involved? Are they what, politicians? Are they criminals? Are they what? You're going to go on and on asking question and question. Every time you establish a source, you quickly set out the news item. But for an ordinary journalist, here's the deadline at 5 o'clock. But not no online journalists or RTM. You have to send out quickly because your deadline is every second. So you have to send. Now, number 5, you have to establish the fact that you have constantly to ask question, question and question. Now, when a tragedy, a big story happens, you have to be backed up by your organization. You send up your news to your organization. There will be somebody receiving your news who will then be willing, who must be prepared to verify. He will check.
Right.
And then it goes to the sub-editor who again check. You cannot say a Boeing landed today, and 6 died. He will be asking, hey, a big Boeing is very, very big. How can you say Boeing? So these are things that you have to check. Now, 4 element is this. I will elaborate later on. Stories get stories. Stories get stories. So when you have death, for example, your reliable source says 6 have died. You have to check. 6 have died based on the manifest. 6 have died. You have to tell your editor, and your editor will then check with the next of kin whether it's true or not. So what happened was somebody saw somebody by the name, or somebody said, is the name is a son of a politician. It's not true. You have to verify. You go to the next occasion and say, we heard that something happened. Is it true? You say, yes, I'm true. And then you get to get that human side of the story. Are you sad? You know, what were the last words he said to you? So you building up the story based on that story that you talk about.
Right.
So an incident has now been established to be a big story, a tragedy. A tragedy now involves human dimension.
Right.
The human factor must be brought into the picture. Yeah? And all in, you must be assured that they are true. You cannot just write on hearsay statements or you've heard something. You have to be very, very sure of your sources. And as somebody from the organization, you always be assured that you'll be backed up by your organization.
Right. Okay, Prof. I mean, verifying facts indeed very crucial, but it takes time. If we were to relate to the current situation, some news was shared by netizens who may not aware the importance of verifying facts. So what drives them to share and how do we go about educating them, Prof?
You see, you come back to the traditional journalism. We have to check. That's why they put out the news is always what we call delayed. The delay comes in because you need to check facts.
To verify, yeah.
Verify. But you can make it fast by writing stories that are short. An incident happened today which involved a small plane. Send first, you know. Later on, you build up this small plane back home and whatnot. But you cannot say 6 or 10 died. You have to get from your source. If source says 5, you say from the source, I'm reporting is 5 deaths. You know, and normally the deaths will always be lower number than reported.
Right.
You cannot begin with 20 and say no, it's 5, it's 2, it's 1. No, cannot.
Okay.
You can say maybe 1, it can be 2 later on, but you can say as far as we know now, 2 deaths reported. Now, in any reporting, in any tragedy, the human death is more important than the material damage. The material damage can be 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, but one death overcomes that.
Right.
Death is more important. Now, net citizen, it's a loose concept. Everybody is a citizen. Carrying a camera, you are a net citizen.
Netizen.
Sometimes they get a picture and they say, I'm first. I want others to know. You know. Now, based on my research in news diffusion, news diffusion spreads when the person thinks that he is first in knowing. He is first in knowing.
Right.
And human nature is such that being first in knowing, you want others to know. Because there is pride.
You want to share.
To sharing. The pride to know that you are the first to know. So this is what is happening in with net citizen. They think they are the first to know, and they think it is their pride to let others know.
Okay. So thank you, Prof, for sharing your insight. We'll now take 1 minute break. I know there will be questions. So for listeners, you can just put your question in the comment section and we'll take up from there. So we take a 1 minute break. Stay tuned for another insightful sharing. Thank you. Welcome back to The Inside. Our second panelist, Mr. Azrul Naimi, is all set to share his experience with us. So, Mr. Azrul, I would like to bring up a recent incident that had shocked the entire nation. The crash of a private jet that claimed the life of 10 individuals in Elmina Township. So the tragedy happened in a public area, and netizens were the first to capture the scene and share it across their platforms. So this raises an interesting question. How do journalists keep up and compete with netizens when reporting on such incident? And the second issue is about reporting details of a tragedy that could possibly compromise the principle of empathy and sensitivity. So what's your take on these two issues?
Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, basically, thank you, IIUM, for having me. It has been an honor to make an appearance in this event. Okay, we just jump into the picture now about Elmina incident. How to keep up for journalists. I've been a journalist since 2003. Since 2001. But then I left it, and then when I rejoined, it seems that the integration between online and print media, everything, is quite an early stage in Malaysia still. Back then, when I rejoined Utusan Online, it wasn't as happening as now. Back then, the guideline was there's nothing for us to follow. Exactly, we don't even know how to compete with social media,
right?
Because everything is so very fast. But then we sat together, we come up with our own model, whereby we had to monitor social media 24/7. Okay, and then one of the best examples that happened back then was, I don't know if anyone remember or not, the coup incident in Turkey. It happened at midnight our time.
Right.
But everybody was quite surprised that Utusan Online team was ready to face everything. I mean, before the portal, everything, other agencies captured it, we captured it first. Why? Because we have a few members who are always online 24/7.
Okay.
So we continue. So in terms of reporting from that, we don't even know them. So like what Prof said earlier about the accuracy part, the truthful part, we had to check ourselves. We contact them. We DM them.
Right.
We ask them, who are you? Sir, who are you? And then they tell us, basically, we are the witnesses, everything here. I'm from, some of them, like one of the guy, he said he's an owner of a shop in somewhere over here. So we quote him in the story. So I think that's how, in order to keep up with these changing times, journalists themselves have to change. You have to evolve. Because if you remain in situ, you won't get anywhere. You'll be basically like print media. Some advocates that it's still alive, but I see, yes, it's still alive, but it need to evolve. So it can catch up with portal thing. Timeliness, of course, print won't catch up, but they can catch up through analysis, by doing analysis. To go back to what Prof said earlier, to me, in terms of news, you need to have a triangle: truthfulness, timeliness, and source.
Right.
Truthful source. Once you miss any one element, there's no news. Basically, the news is not true. Yeah. So yes, until now we do have issues with verifying information. We still have, because sometimes some sources, they don't want to introduce themselves.
Okay.
So if that's the case, we categorize them as C, basically. We do have we do classification, like our own, the model that we came up ourselves. There's A plus, B, C. Normally, those sources who doesn't want to say anything, we classify them as C. Who says that I heard it from somewhere. My name is this. I heard it from someone. That's B. A plus is the one like the Almina thing.
Right.
Those who were there.
Clear cut. Yeah.
Those the clear cut. The guy who took the pictures, the guy who took the videos. That's A plus source.
Right.
And then he identifies himself. I'm scan. This is my name and this is my clip. That's A plus source. And what's next? To come up with maybe a model for netizens, I think it's very difficult. It's very difficult because at the end of the day, every netizen have this and have this.
Yeah.
They have their own feelings. Would you like that, say, like if I tell something bad about you, about your family, bad things that fall your family, of course you won't like it.
Yeah.
So stop doing it. Just use common sense. And I don't know whether many outside would know in this verification thing. Reuters and AFP do have courses, free courses that teach how you need to verify sources. They have. Just go on to their website. They have.
Yeah.
But locally, I'm not sure.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Now, coming back to the principle of empathy and sensitivity just now, where reporters tend to provide too much detail when they are reporting about a tragedy, and people seems to be uncomfortable with that. So, what's your take on that issue?
My take on that, the editors need to chill down. The editors need to chill out because most of the times the reporters are following instructions from editors. And for editors, especially print, sorry, Prof. For print, sensationalism sells. Stories like that sells.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with the pictures.
Worries.
Okay, imagine if you have a story that says, oh, this mother is pretty sad because she just lost her daughter or something. Just the story. It means nothing.
Yeah.
You've got picture there. Mother is wailing. So sad. Can you imagine?
Right.
What's the impact of the story towards the reader? Same as online. But with online and TV, you have an extra thing. You have the videos.
Yeah.
You can listen to what they are saying. It's quite disheartening to see scenes like that.
Yeah.
But we need to maybe just, I don't know, to editors to tone it down,
Yeah.
to relax a little, maybe to give maybe the victims' families a bit of space,
Yeah. Sometime.
for some time. Like when I covered MH17 tragedy, when the bodies came, spoke to the victims' families. Are you comfortable to speak now?
All right.
We asked them that. If not, maybe we can arrange some other time, maybe tomorrow, maybe after
Okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the editor would scream at me. I said, I'm sorry, boss. I said, I'm sorry, boss. That's what the family told me. We have to respect them.
Yes.
I mean, for journalists themselves, they need to be a bit brave.
Yeah.
To because your job is, you're there. You know.
You know the
You
situation.
know situation. You got to ask them if they're comfortable. Okay. If not, give them space, and then tell your editors, please. Your editors are used to be journalists too. They will understand. Luckily, I had good editors before, so I mean this process is easy.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we are there and we know how we're supposed to react. Yeah, and that will guide us through as a journalist. Yeah,
And it also, at the end of the day, it makes you a better person as well. You can not just sympathize but empathize. That's why being a journalist, especially in these exciting times, doing this tragedy thing is, I usually have a lot of baggages. But when I go home, I need to leave the baggage outside. I cannot bring them.
right.
At home, I have my family, but I don't have my work. while I'm at work, yes, I do have a family, but I have to leave them a bit
Right.
out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one time I met the families of a victim who fell down an escalator. She's a kid, 7 years old. It's very hard to speak to the father when you're a father yourself, to ask him. He just lost his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and how does he feel? How does you identify? How do you know that's your daughter? Were you there?
Okay.
He saw everything. And to put it into words, you cannot put nearly everything what he told you. It like this, the hand like this, everything. No, you can't. You have to have that kind of common sense, respect. I mean, some netizens, they do have this kind of issue whereby they don't do this because it's more of a sensational thing. Like Prof said, I'm the first one to know about this. I'm the first one to tell about this. I want people to adore me. Maybe they have that kind of, I don't know, that kind of having gratification out of people's misery. I don't know. They have their own answer. But they need to tone down a little bit because we journalists need to do that.
Right.
We have an ethics to follow. We have a guideline to follow. So to netizens out there, just be careful because I'm afraid maybe next time if this keep on going, the government will do something. The government will suppress you guys. So that's my most fear.
Okay. There's one question from the audience from the YouTube. The question is, do we have to report when a tragedy happened? Do we have to report every now and then? I mean, why it should be like constantly be reported? Is it like compulsory for you to do that?
Okay, yes. Because let's say for example, this is a good example. MH370. During the first 1 week, there is a press conference for every half an hour.
Oh,
So you need to be on top of those.
right.
You need to be there to report everything that happens. That's why back then, during the MH370 times, netizens would say, "What are those? Why are this media keep on reporting the same thing all over again after
Repeat the same information.
repeating the same information because that's the information that we get.
Yeah.
Because press conferences happen every 30 minutes. And there's no update. Since there's no update, they keep repeating the earlier information. So that's why we also keep on reporting the same thing.
Right.
Excuse me. The Elmina case is kind of different because at the first time, it was suspected that it only involved 2 victims.
Right.
But then, when the manifest came out, then we knew there were 8 victims. Then, when the video came out, we knew there were 9 victims. Then, when the CCTV was closely studied, then we knew it was 10 victims.
Right.
So, there's a timeline there. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 4 hours. It's
Within
about
that
4 hours.
time.
So you got to keep on reporting these key milestones.
Yeah.
The milestones over here. So that's why we have to have people there who are reporting every time.
Yeah. So that you get more
We
information.
get more information and the
which is
most current
verified.
information.
Correct. Okay, thank you, Mr. Azrul. Now we take a 1-minute break. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back for more. Stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to The Inside. We have our third panelist, Dr. Hermita Azim, who is also the journalist in residence for IIUM. So, Dr. Harmi, with your vast experience in managing corporate communication office at the university, perhaps you could shed some light on the issue of inaccurate reporting, how it has impacted your role as the corporate comm personnel, and how it has impacted the university as a whole.
Thank you, Tati. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes. As now I'm a PR practitioner, handling corporate communication for the university. The one that you said just now is always a nightmare for us. Really nightmare. When inaccurate news being shared about the university or any institution, then it's your job to put out the fire.
Right.
And it's not easy because there's a lot of things that you have to you have to look at, and then you have to look into before making any statement rebutting whatever been shared. And again, it depends in what platform. Either in social media or in traditional media or in newspaper, for example. Inaccurate reporting, my experience, we have a lot. Yeah, we have a lot. One that I can sometimes, one that I can say that people, they love sensational stories. Yeah. So one of it that a small example I can give is that when one of the online portal, a renowned one, online portal, shared a story about a flood in IIUM, and showed a picture with the of the flood. But the only problem is that the report was not accurate because the flood was not as bad as been told in the story, and the picture was taken years back during I think 2016.
So it wasn't recent.
No, it wasn't recent. I remember that we had a huge flood at that time. So when the photo has been shared, when the news has been shared, and it created panic in IIUM and among parents and families of the students, everybody keep calling in, asking how IIUM now. And then I was at that time in the evening, ready to go home, and said, "What flood?" And yeah, there was a flood, but it's not as bad as been reported.
Right.
So I quickly called the news portal. Luckily that I know the person in there, the editor, my boss before, and then I told him that it was wrong, and I give him another photo of the incident and said the reporting was so wrong, and where do you get the source? And again, this is sometimes that we have to be responsible, and like being said before, and to double check and to verify information.
Right.
So because it's been shared by other portal as well, and this one big name portal, I don't want to mention the name, shared the story, and I think taken from another person.
Right.
Yeah. So it caused havoc in IIUM at that time because of that situation. And then remember one time that few years back, I think 2 years ago, we had this incident where one of the mahalah, there's water coming out from under the mahalah and it's like flowing.
Yeah.
So it was shared in the social media. Then I was one of the first to reach the place. Once I received in social media, I was here in IIUM and we double check. We were afraid of a landslide at that time, and the whole building can come can go down. And the photo being shared was horrifying. The video, in fact, of the water coming down from under the mahalah. So what I did was at that time, I quickly analyzed the situation and then issue a statement that night itself because it happened late in the evening. So I think I came here right after Maghrib. So quickly assess the situation and issue a statement to journalists saying that now it's under control, no more water coming up under the building, and now investigating, and everybody was no one is injured, everybody's out of the building right now, and we already condoned the place. So to ensure everything is okay. Yeah, and then update after that, because a day after that, then when they investigated, it was one of the pipe inside broken. It's not because of the rain, and because of the water under under river under the
Building.
land and all that. No, it's just because of one of the pipe broken and come down, water coming down under the building. So that kind of thing that I, as a person sitting in that position, 24/7, have to be alert all the time. And same like him, we also have someone who will go, no, not someone, a team, in fact, will check the social media 24/7. Anything, everything got to do with our university, anything with IIM name come up, we will be first to do.
Right.
Because if I'm the last person to know, then I'm not doing my job, because I need to know first and I need to do something about it. But sometimes there's a lot of things being said that I don't need to do anything because of especially in social media, because you cannot combat the whole social media. But you have to know and to play, because like I said that it's always a triangle that we have to look at. We have to look at situation. We look at the at the message that we want to convey and the audience. And when you look at everything, then only we decide. Sometimes one incident that about IIM, when there's stories, and in fact in the newspaper and online saying something about how to say this, inefficient of IIUM, certain office of not doing their job properly, that I can say. And the university want me to issue a statement straight away saying that it's not our problem, it's a because of the other agency outside. So I refuse to do that, because as a person in charge, I have to advise the management saying that if we do that and I assess the situation, if we do that, where we start to blame other people,
Right.
and it will not stop, and then come back to us, and we still rely on that person after that,
Right.
and they will not help us. So my answer has to be very careful, very I have to be very really careful in writing and explaining back to the media and the accusation given to IIUM without touching other people.
Right.
So there's a way of doing that. And if, let's say, that time I quickly issue a statement, oh, it's not our fault, we done everything, it's because of you and you not doing your job, and fall back to us, and those people will attack us back.
Right.
And instead of one problem from the social media and the print media, then I have another problem because these three people attacking me. So we try to assess and reduce the situation.
Yeah.
So this is why I say as a person in charge of an institution, inaccurate reporting or fake news is a nightmare to us.
Yeah.
But experience that I have and the team and also the contact, this is how we try to manage to handle the situation.
Yeah, I'm sure during crisis time, especially for example the COVID incident, right?
Yeah.
There are many who are speculating using social media.
Oh, yes.
And how do you stay ahead and compete with these, fake news that went viral in the midst of a crisis?
The COVID-19 was a good example, because it was something that unprecedented. We don't know what to do, actually. Not only to us, to everyone in the world. It's something that really come and hit us quickly. We are not prepared. The government, the whole world not prepared. So we have to, when there's a lot of news flying around, and social media especially, and like Prof said just now, that they want to be popular, or they want to get more followers at that time, 23,000 following, and like what they say, and they want to be the first to tell everything. So if I combat each and every one of them, don't have enough. First, I don't have enough manpower. Second, impossible for me to do that.
Yeah.
So on our side, to protect, I have to build a wall. How to build a wall is that you take the news that been, let's say one news say that there's a COVID-19 positive in IIUM. At that time, 1% positive can create panic to the whole. Yeah. So we just take that and then edit it as a fake news, and remind back the people, if you share fake news, you are under the section this and this and this and this, and then we share back. You share back. So it's killing two birds with one stone. One
Right.
to say it's fake news. Second, to remind
Yeah.
not only you, the whole people who receive this, that if you share fake news, then it is something an offense in eyes of law. So you have to remember that. So that is how we combat the social media. And at the same time, we and I am also we have to constantly issue statement,
Mm.
because we in this situation, my problem is that the stakeholder of the university, not only the staff,
Yeah.
we have students, we have 30,000 students, 30,000 students with parents all over the world, not only Malaysia but all over the world. At that time, we have, I think, one third of students are international, were international students, um, and to ensure that everything is okay. So if you keep quiet, then people start to speculate. Very simple. In news, in media, you be quiet, people start to speculate. So you have to keep on coming. You keep issuing statement, stating everything, that if everything is okay, and ensuring people that everything is fine. I remember that one time that I had a huge argument with the Ministry of Health. It was because at that time there was a case in Kuantan, the case in Kuantan Hospital. It's a hospital. Their first COVID-19 um, victim at that time. It was a patient in the hospital, our hospital. They want to issue in the evening. They want to issue is a cluster UIA. So I fought with them, and before it come out, I fought with them because I got to know first about this, and I quickly called ministry. Said you cannot call cluster UIA. They said that because it happened in UIA in Kuantan. I said if you do that, and the whole community, the parents will be panicked, and campus all over Malaysia, and over we have 5 campuses all over the country. I said no. I said they will still insist using cluster UIA. So I give them one example. If this thing happened in hospital HUKM in Bangi, will you say cluster UKM? No, because it happened in HKM. Same here. It's our hospital, not UIA. So they changed later on, and then I really not say threat, but I, in a nicer word, I say that if you do this, then because it will create panic, and you should I will write something back to you.
Right.
And then they issue a cluster Bali, I think, because the person came from Bali, where he got the COVID-19 at that time. So you have to quickly to
Yeah.
combat this thing.
So it was a tough job, yeah, communicating in the midst of a crisis, yeah, and you have
Yeah.
to keep on updating because no news is good news does not apply at that time. Yeah, you have to constantly
Yes,
inform
constantly
so that
inform.
people are aware and they
But
are
at that
more
time, we
certain.
use social media, and at that time, yes, we use social media because that's the fastest way for people to receive. Like I
Yeah.
said before, that half an hour after I'm the one who first initial shared by me, half an hour, my own department shared back to me, so that within half an hour I receive back.
Right.
So they say how fast
Yeah.
it was. And then at that time during the crisis, newspapers, online portal, they are all my best friends at that time because they help. We have to help each other. If not, then it's going to be difficult. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Harmi, for sharing your experience. We're still waiting if there is any question from the audience. If not, we take a 1-minute break before Q&A session. So don't go away. Stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back to The Inside. Now we are towards the end of our webinar, and we are very fortunate to listen to three very experienced panelists. I'm sure there are many questions from the audience, whether online or from the studio. We would like to take up questions, but may not be all due to time constraint. And we will respond to other questions via email, inshallah. So, do you have questions? Or else? Yeah, or else we are going to maybe listen to your last remark or comment from each of our panelists. Over to you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. I think we have to acknowledge this is a new media landscape.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, during my time, during my time, I think there was no social media at all. You know, so this new media landscape, we have to acknowledge that. They exist, and how we have to overcome and take their role as they play along.
Mm-hmm.
For example, this aircraft crash.
Yeah.
One of the media organizations got a tip from the social media.
Yes.
Somebody tipped and said there was aircraft, and then the news editors got the tip and started giving the assignment. So you have to acknowledge that the role of the social media is also important in this new media landscape.
Right.
Except that you have to know how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
How going to accept, how you going to tell them that you have a role to play, but you have to acknowledge that don't use these very sensitive issues to get your audience. You know? So then I think all the political leaders and all social leaders acknowledge that the social media is here to stay.
Yes.
That's true.
The television media is here to stay, but their role has somewhat diminished compared to previous years.
Yeah.
So it's a better out in one country. They say this fake news and everything is something that we have to absorb because we cannot overcome that anymore. Fake news will be there, you know, and the definition of fake news is vastly different from one country to another. But we have to absorb that. We have to be very critical of news being reported by the social media or the new media or even by the traditional media. Because the traditional media, in order to compete with the social media, sometimes they have to give leeway to their definition of accuracy. Yeah. So there is a new thing, you know, we have to have media literacy. We have to educate our audience to be media literate.
Right.
Yeah? So media literacy comes
Yeah.
in. We have to tell them what is fake news, what is not fake news, what is news that is acceptable.
Yeah.
Acceptable, although it may be true, but is it acceptable to us?
Right.
And whether if it's fake news, how do we overcome that? And how do, when we get fake news, it is very, very sensationalized. Do we transmit it
Yes.
or we keep quiet? And the human being comes in and says, my friends may need to know that. I have to pass on. Where I think, you know, our rule comes in. If we stop, we say, hey, my friend, my neighbor, I think we should tell him. I should tell him, but tell him not to spread. And he will tell others also
Not to
Not to spread.
you know? So that is the way the news is being spread out.
Thank you, Prof. Interesting. Okay, there is one question from the audience. Okay, is protecting special privacy more important than reporting news regarding those individuals? Is protecting the special privacy is more important than reporting news regarding those individuals? So who would like to
Maybe
respond to
take
that?
this. Try this.
Mhm.
How low can you go?
Yeah.
The question, I'll answer your question with a question. How low will you go? You need to have a certain kind of ethics when reporting because you can't tell everything.
Yeah.
Because if that person commits something wrong,
Right.
it's that person. But the lowest of the lowest form of reporting is you attack the family as well.
Mm.
That's the lowest of the lowest form.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately to say, like our former Prime Minister, Dr. Sri Najib, if he did wrong, yeah, he did wrong, but why go attacking his family? That's unfair. So if you say special privacy, it's not really special privacy, but it's more on ethics.
Mm.
Ethics, yeah.
This is the ethics that we talk about. How low can you go?
Mm. Yeah.
Would you like that person to attack your? If you do wrong, would you like that person, maybe anybody, to attack your parents,
Yeah.
your family, everything? No, right? So that's it. How low can you go?
Okay.
And I think also because of we have our media law, which it applies even to social media. What is liable, and then you can be sued for saying something wrong. Not in social media, I can say bad thing about him. He can sue me back.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, because I've said something that can affect him. But this is something that you have to look at. Don't simply. Understand that we have to safeguard our privacy, in the sense that our freedom in spreading. But the problem is that in social media that they don't know where to stop and what not to
Yeah,
share.
the
I
boundary.
like
Yeah.
what the prof said just now. Okay, I share it with you. Don't share with anyone, yeah. And you also do that with your family.
This
Your
one,
family do that,
trust.
and then in the end, everybody will get the same thing.
Yeah.
This is what we received recently, and I received the video too, and it's very, how to say this thing, something that I couldn't imagine if a 6 or 7 year old watching,
Yeah.
and let alone the family,
The family.
the parents, the sisters of the victim, and watching the video,
Mm-hmm.
and but this is something that you have to do. And I remember a day after the MCMC issued a statement
Yeah.
saying that they do not share,
Yeah. Reminding the
reminding
netizen.
people, because there's no law really against this thing.
Yeah.
It is an ethics,
Yeah.
something that
Just
you
ethics.
have to be an editor in yourself. You have to be the gatekeeper yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Will I share this? And you have to come from the first person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I'm the how many thousands person who received that. So the first person, if I were there, I'm the one who took that video. Will I share it? So that first person. So this is the conscious that everyone must have. And again, I think what Prof said just now is literacy, media, to understand. And I think the public must understand
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
And everybody must have that skill.
Isn't it just for the practitioners like us, or the academician like us, or students, our students, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone must understand this.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dr. Rami. Mr. Azrul, your last remarks before we
Okay.
end.
Basically, in terms of information, we have truth on, like Prof said earlier, but we tend to talk a lot about misinformation, but maybe we overlook on disinformation. Misinformation, yeah, wrong information, but how about disinformation,
Yeah.
whereby you spread a wrong information just to create a different perspective, maybe. Like Prof said earlier, media literacy. We need to inculcate that among everybody to basically choose which one is correct one, which is
Yeah.
the misinformation, which is the disinformation part, and which is the truth part, which you can follow, you can use, and you can spread.
Mm. Yeah.
That's basically that's.
Agree. Thank you, Mr. Azrul.
Short.
Yeah, we have one more question. I think we have time to take one more. Okay, does a reporter's perspective of ethics is influenced by the company where he is working? Who want to pick it up? Yeah, all of you have experience as reporters.
Sorry, we laugh because of the
Prof?
company we worked before.
I think there are certain definition of ethics which is universal.
Yeah.
Accuracy is universal. I got to be sure of my facts. There are 6 dead. I got to be accurate on that.
Yeah.
And I got to be fast. that is a company's definition of ethics, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you go slow, the company may be
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think is also an ethic that is valuable to all.
Mm.
Mhm.
To be fair means you be fair to the family who
Yes.
is in bad shape. You have to be, you have to safeguard their interests. For example, Azrul was saying, a family has lost, the father has lost his son.
Yeah.
For a news agency to ask a question and write, it will not be something that is very sensational
Yeah.
compared to a cameraman.
Yes.
You ask that father and you put the
Yeah.
zoom camera.
Mm-hmm.
You can see his eyes, his
Yes.
tears, it's different.
Yeah.
So when a news agency man writes, it's a different story from what a
Yeah.
cameraman was.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Correct.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think based on our company, every company they have their own style, in-house style, and also when it comes to ethics, I think everyone is the same.
Yeah.
I work for a broadcast company, and as a broadcast company at that time, even the slogan is best in news. No, first in news. Sorry, first in news. So we have to be first in news. We have to first telling people, but at the same time, we have to ensure that how accurate and also to be fair to everyone. I had my own fair share of covering stories like Azul did just now, and being a TV man with a camera and really difficult because I cannot when I hold that mic in front of your face and asking something like that to you, to your family, for your family, with camera is on, that is something tough. Sometimes it's a very tough job to do. To get his or her permission and to tell that to us, can you talk to us on camera? It's not easy. And but your boss has already called you, so you must get that story,
Yeah.
or else don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
There is ethics also, but sometimes if we cannot, then we have to tell our boss we cannot. We have to fight. But but the boss they want stories because stories means advertisement, audience, and money and all that. But
Yeah.
sometimes there's a thin line. It's really a thin line.
Mhm.
Yeah, a thin line. You have to use your own judgment
Yeah.
in doing that. But
Yeah.
basic ethics is all the same.
Yeah.
We cannot tell lies. We have to be fair. We have to be accurate. And as a journalist, we are lucky because we have editors back in the office
Yeah.
who will decide for us.
Yeah.
But like again, social media, there's no editor
Yeah.
to decide.
Just like Mr. Azrul mentioned just now, you are there, you are in that situation,
Yeah,
you should know, what
Your
you're
boss will
supposed
rely
to
back to
do.
you. How's the situation?
Mm.
Can we share this story? Is it okay?
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Harmi, your last take, your last comment before we end.
I think it's the same. And then in handling media during crisis, it's very delicate, very difficult because you don't want to add more fire to the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's already fire, and you have to put out the fire.
Mhm.
And if you spill oil, and it create a bigger problem to you. So on the other side of the fence, because I'm talking now not as a journalist, I'm talking someone who always have to the one who been tell the stories to. You When I answer back, I have to be careful.
Right.
So and then of course, like I said to you, it's nightmare to us. But to me, my take in this thing is that to be cautious in answering back, and you have to have a strategy.
Right.
If not, you cannot survive.
So your response must be right, yeah?
Yes.
So thank you so much to all our panelists, Professor Datuk Sri, Mr. Azrul, and Dr. Harmi. So in conclusion, there are a few takeaways that we learned from this webinar. I think we will be sharing it on YouTube as well. One of it is accuracy is the key in reporting tragedies. It may take some time, but this is the basic principle that cannot be compromised. Yeah, and number 2, netizens are to be mindful of what they are sharing, regardless of the strong urge to be the first to share. Yeah, and thirdly, like journalists in residence should be more proactive and alert. yeah, enabling them to respond in a timely manner and to think twice of your response because it may backfire. Okay, so I would like to thank our distinguished panelists for their knowledge and experience that they share with us today. And until we meet again in the next Insight webinar, stay safe everyone. Assalamualaikum and wish you a very good day. Thank you.